him, so I did a little study. Can I tell you what "if by reason of strength" really means? Can I tell you that? Can I tell you that? In celebration of this great man, Gail Yates, Mama Rose. First off, he led his household in a godly way, even before he became a Christian, committed Christian. Sent his kids to church school thanks to Mama Rose. Now, then he paid the bill for their education. If by reason of strength, he recognized the importance of Christian education. Am I right, Mom? Yes. Christian education. Not only that, he made men out of his sons. You don't believe it? Talk to them. They're still bleeding to this very day. Daddy had to instill corporal punishment, whatever happened, those good old days, that made men out of boys. Don't spank them, it turned out to be what we got today. If by reason of strength also means that once you become a member of this great faith, you give it all to Jesus Christ. Became a deacon. Got involved, as Daddy Rufus Simpkins said, in the outreach ministry. He wasn't baptized until he was ready to be baptized. Yeah, they all prayed for him, but Daddy said, "I'm going to do it my way and God's way." If by reason of strength means when you give all you've got to God and give all you've got to your children, give all you've got to your wife, give all you've got to life, you're guaranteed by God to live more than 70 You might even get to the third 10 because your life is worth living. One last thing to tell you before I go. When I grow up, I want to be like Daddy.
Good day, everybody. Well, my brother passed, and I'm the second one behind him. First this year. I'm 90 and 6 months old. Now this song I'm going to sing, not too long, it's for my sister. So you take it and sleep with it and remember me with this song. In times like this, we need a Savior. In times like this, we need anchor. Be very sure. Be very sure.
That's where you work it out. Work it.
Your uncle and grips the solid.
Amen.
In times like this, we need a Bible. In times like this, we need a Savior. Be very sure. Be very sure. Your uncle
see it here, I have a note here saying that the service has to conclude in time for by 1 o'clock, in time for the family to get to Fort Lincoln. So I'm going to ask that only those that are on the program to give reflections do so in order to respect the time of the service. Thank you.
I'm Roland Yates, definitely. I've been on Roland for a long, long time. We used to go out, these fruit trucks. Y'all know the rest of them, quite a few of y'all know. Go on a fruit truck every day with them. If we would sell fruit, deliver, whatever. But when I come home, the parent was always there for me. It wasn't like, if you sell this, you'll get this. Irregardless, the government was there for me. I miss him, I love him, I want to tell the family how I feel about it. So, I'm sorry.
In the regular family, you are blessed with 2 sets of grandparents. Come from your mother's side, 2 from your father's side. I was blessed to have a 3rd set. Unfortunately, most of you know that my maternal grandparents passed away before I was even 1, so I had a 2nd set. I don't know what happened, what conversations happened with my grandparents, or maybe there wasn't a conversation, but most of the friends of my grandmother have taken very good care of my mother and my brother and I, and a lot of that has to do with the Yates. Every week, I didn't know what Sabbath dinner was until weekend after weekend going up to the Gates house, and if you've ever been over there when I was still in high school, my job was to set the table. So I made sure you had a seat at the table. My reward was the first plate to be made, all the way till I was 18, no matter who came over. And Daddy Gates made sure that I still got my first plate. Then I went off to college. When I went off to college, I made sure when I came home that my Sabbath dinners were still at the Gates house. And I still set the table, and I still got the first plate. And when I would leave, Daddy Gates would wake up out of his nice nap. He would give me a hug, and he would slip me gas money in my hand. I was so slightly that I didn't even realize it at first. And I would still get gas money from my mom when I left. It took years before she realized that Daddy Gates had already gave me gas money. And like the stories my mother told earlier when she was up here, Daddy Gates always jumped into conversations, always made sure Sabbath dinner was amazing. And unfortunately, my paternal grandfather passed away prior to me meeting the love of my life. But I did still have a grandfather to give me a blessing on the man that I had chosen. Because growing up in this church, I saw my dad. And I remember young, my parents aren't married. So I never grew up in a household. My grandparents were married, but my parents are married. So I didn't grow up in a household with a mother and a father together. But I saw Daddy and Mom Gates, and I said, I want to be, no offense, Mom, that old couple in church. I wanted to be them. I still want to be them. And I'm glad that with the blessings and the love and the guidance from, I call him Daddy, the love guidance that Daddy had, he helped me find a man that I know that I can be, strive to be with mine that are here at church. So I love you, Ma, and I'm truly going to miss Daddy, and I'm still coming home to visit, and I'm still glad to see you.
You don't have to stand because I won't be that long. You know, I was thinking, Papa Yates had a saying that 100 years from now, it doesn't make a difference. But there was a man on the seashore that was seeing starfish. He was walking, throwing them around, throwing them back into the water. And a man walked up to him and said, man, you can't save all these starfish. And the man smiled. And he picked up another one and he said, I made a difference with that one. In 90 years, Papa made a difference in so many people's lives. He touched the lives of many, and I was coming over and I was thinking about it, and he took me in his home when I was 18 and gave me a second chance to grow up. And it's been like 33 years as of this week, today. And I think about it, that he took me, showed me all kinds of things. But one of the things he really expended on me was that, Brian, he said, man, that you can have more degrees than a thermometer, but if you ain't got common sense, you're in trouble. And so I want to tell you something. You can have all the degrees you want. And I'm not talking to you guys, great God, thank God for education. But there's nothing like good common sense, you know. And though he was short, he taught me about business. He taught me this one thing, to love your woman. I remember one day I was getting ready to take Mama Yates the car to church. She was in the car, and she had left her little snack in the car. And he ran out. I said, wait a minute, Ron, wait a minute. And I thought to myself, if that was my wife, she'd have been shorts. You know what I'm saying? It all degrees that, there, and I thought about it that, it was last couple weeks ago that everybody had left and it was just me and Gail and Mom, and she said, let's close the Sabbath, and we began to sing. And they said, let's sing Papa's favorite song. And the song said, do you love God more than anything? Do you really, really love him? And I began to think about his whole life. And Mama looked at me and said, sing, Ron, sing. But I was so overwhelmed by the words of the song. Matter of fact, I spent time this morning listening to that song by the Blend Right. And it said, do you love him more than family? Do you really, really do? And if you do, let the world know. And he let the world know through his family. His family showed us how to love and how to take. So I just want to tell you, don't let your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in him. In his Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, he would have told. He said, I go, and if I go, I'll come again and receive you. Papa's waiting, and I pray that he's looking for you, Mama. He's going to be looking for you, Rose, Carl, Gail, and Tyrone. And I pray that we all be here. God bless you.
If I could use a phrase to symbolize this man, it would be role model. I don't think he set out to be a role model. But see, a role model is one who does more doing than talking. I grew up in this church. Grew up with a single parent. And as a result of growing up with a mother who did all she could for me, contrary to somebody who believed I was just energetic. I wasn't bad, I was just energetic. But there were individuals who sort of helped make the road balanced. Brother Yates was one of those. Many of those individuals have gone to sleep. And whenever I come back into this building, I'm reminded of those individuals like Brother Wharton, who those of you know, always had some candy to give me. Last time I spoke here, I was in my 50s. Nobody knows that. And Brother Wharton still slipped some candy in my hand. And I told him, I'm too old for candy. He said, boy, you ain't never too old. And then individuals didn't talk as much as Brother Wharton, but still let you know, I see you. I see what God is doing for you. Role model. So as I look out upon you, and if there's anything that you take back, remember, there's somebody watching you. You don't have to sign up to be a role model. Just live your life in accordance to how God has blessed you.
There have been so many cards expressions of condolence that the family had asked that I read a few. But due to the lateness of time, I'm only going to acknowledge that we have received the cards. And on behalf of the Yates family, please accept our appreciation for your cards, your calls, your prayers, and all expressions of condolence. It has made a world of difference. It has made a difficult period manageable. Continue to pray for them as they continue to deal with the loss of such a one. July 22nd, 2014. To the family of the late Roland Yates. I will love thee, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. My God, my strength, in whom I will trust. My buckler and the horn of my salvation and my tower. I will call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from mine enemies. Like the quiet of falling snow and the blooming of the rose, Roland Yates gently touched the lives of those about him. His genuine warmth, bright smile, and tranquil spirit endeared him to the hearts of many. Brother Roland Yates was baptized into the membership of the First Church of Seventh-day Adventists on April 18, 1981, at the conclusion of the Youth Week of Prayer conducted by Elder Joe Breyer. The melodious rendition of The Savior is Waiting provided the neat score to his walk into fellowship. Brother Yates began his years of service as a member of the usher board. He greeted the members on a weekly basis with a warm smile and a hearty handshake, distributing bulletins and conducting members to available seats. He was especially attentive in keeping the young people in the service, often patrolling the hallways and exterior of the building, gently directing them back into worship. Gifted with the ability to relate to individuals of all ages, Brother Yates mentored several young people in the congregation, becoming a surrogate father and trusted friend. He consistently imparted wisdom and practical guidance to all of the young people with whom he was associated. His home was often a haven and a safe place for young people. Ever willing to help those in need of aid, Brother Yates joined his wife working in the Community Services Department, preparing and serving meals to the homeless, distributing clothing and other items. Additionally, he counseled the young men who came to the soup kitchen, dispensing advice and encouraging them to pursue gainful employment and a better life. He also assisted elder siblings with the transporting of foodstuffs for the kitchen, loading and unloading boxes. A man of quiet dignity, befitting a Christian gentleman, he will be remembered for his easy smile and calm demeanor. We at the First Church will remember him as the genial, cordial companion in social intercourse, as the wise and friendly counselor in difficulty, as the kind and sympathizing consoler in sorrow and distress, ever ready to do a kind act, to seek out and bring forth modest work and truth, and never weary in doing well. We have lost a father, a grandfather, a mentor, an advisor, a confidant, and a teacher, and we will remember him thusly. Fathers are for talking with, for words that guide and cheer. Fathers are for walking with, for always being near. Fathers are for caring, for being strong yet gentle. Fathers are for sharing when we're feeling sentimental. Fathers are for standing by through every kind of strife. Fathers are for giving faith that lights your way through life. As we mourn the loss of our brother, we look forward to seeing him again in the earth made new. Along with those loved ones he has left behind, we look forward to beholding the face of our loving Savior. Respectfully submitted, Roland J. Hill, pastor. Deborah Jeffries, assistant clerk.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I salute my dad. You see, any male can be a father, but it takes a special man to be a dad. If I had to use one phrase for daddy, I would say, Papa don't take no mess. Early in their marriage, Daddy, without regard to his own personal safety, rescued a woman who was being savagely slashed with a knife by another woman. That's the kind of person that he was. If you want to know the full story, ask Mama. She'll tell you. Roland Howard Yates was born on November the 2nd, 1923, in the District of Columbia to the late Frank George Yates Sr. and Lydia Lorraine Thomas Yates. On Monday, July 14, 2014, Roland slipped quietly to sleep, awaiting the return of his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Roland was the second oldest of 7 siblings: Lawrence, Carl, Frank Jr., Gloria, Dolores, Rita, and Norma, all of which preceded him in death except Frank Jr. Roland received his formal education in the public schools of the District of Columbia. Answering the call of Uncle Sam, he went into the Army in 1943, serving honorably in the World War II. After leaving active service, Roland worked at the Walter Reed Army Hospital for 30 years until his retirement. On January 4, 1944, Roland married the love of his life, Rose May Kearns, his peaches. Born to this union were Roland Jr., Tyrone, Carl, and a precious flower, Gail. Roland was a strong family man. Roland was a strong family man with strong moral values. He loved his family very much. Who would voluntarily take their younger brother on a date with his one and only love? Roland did. In fact, he took Frank Jr. nearly everywhere he went. He loved and took seriously his duty as an older brother. It can be said that the values Roland instilled in his children are still present with them to this very day. To help those in need, work hard to do your best, and to be your best at all times are lessons learned at the tutelage of their father. One of his favorite sayings was, learn to do something with your mind and learn to do something with your hands. At times, Rose felt that Roland was a little too stern in his discipline and made her feelings known, to which Roland replied, shut up. However, one day, he overheard one of his sons talking loudly to his mother during a discussion. Roland replied, don't ever raise your voice at your mother. I can hear him saying it now, and he didn't say it nicely. The Yates' home was often filled with family and friends. The warmth and acceptance made their home a place where people loved to visit and stay. Roland was an entrepreneur, knowing how to make a buck. He drove an ice cream truck, and my, how the children loved him. They loved to see him coming. One kid exclaimed, you should come every Mother's Day. I think most of us know what Mother's Day is. That way, the children would be sure to have plenty of money for treats. Roland was a sports enthusiast, football leading the way. During football season, you could be sure that he was right in front of the television set, rooting for his favorite team, the Washington Redskins. Did you know that Roland played tennis very well, enjoyed fishing, and that he completed a sewing class at the Armstrong Adult Education Center in D.C.? Wow. Roland was baptized into the First Seventh-day Adventist Church on April 28, 1981, under Pastor Edward Richardson, much to the delight and answered prayer of his wife and children. Prior to becoming a member of the church, however, he was a willing participant in the family worship experience, Christian education for his children, and maintaining a godly home environment. He often attended church with his family as well. He served as an usher and was a hard-working member, washing them pans of community services ministry. Roland is survived by his devoted wife of 70 years, Rose. Sons and daughters-in-law, Roland Jr., Cecilia, Tyrone, Donna, Carl, Wanda, and daughter Gail. Brother, Frank Jr., Dolores. Brother-in-law, James Brown, Gloria. Sister-in-law, Willistine Yates Smith. Cousin, Shirley Lamb of Philadelphia, PA. Numerous grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, and a host of loving family members and devoted friends.